And I'm gonna let you all know right now that I can see the participants' names, but for some reason I am not seeing the grid of videos. So I'm gonna try to figure out what is going on there. Oh, wait, I found it. And I know a lot of you have been doing Zoom on your school sessions. So if anyone knows, I totally trust that you might be able to tell me why I can't get to the videos. Actually, let me stop screen. I'll do it that way. There we go. Hello, everyone again. Hi, friends. So if I'm going to share my screen again and see if that works. Let's see. So there we go. And admit all. Okay, so yeah, you'll be muted as you come in. Hello, welcome to Tree Fund for Cadets. Feel free to add your chats to the box. I'm going to see again, like I lost my chat box. Found it again. Awesome. And so you'll be able to chat with me directly, and I'll be monitoring the group chat. We're also going to be recording the meeting, so later you'll be able to refer back if there's anything that you wanted to review again or remember. Just a heads up that based on the number of attendees, we may run long, but I think we have about a dozen or so, and right now we're at about 8. So I'm thinking that we might be able to do what we want to accomplish within the 30 minutes. But again, otherwise, it's just a heads up. Please change your Zoom name to your first name, and I see Carmela, and I see Parrish, and I see Brayden, and I see Daisy from Texas. I see Julia, and I see Jay, and I see Emily. Did I get those right? Awesome. Okay. We all got our name. And as we start, I'll be starting in about maybe like 2-3 minutes, just so people can come in. Oh, hi. Do we have our maple syrup today? Let's see. Anyone have maple syrup for the testing? Excellent. Okay. Yay. All right. Oh my gosh, I just realized you can't really see mine there. It'll pop in and out with that Zoom background. So, okay. Yeah. So just a couple more minutes. Feel free to do what you want to do, what you need to do. If you have any questions for me as we wait, go ahead and put them in the chat. Or again, we're in that pre-time, so you can go ahead and unmute and let me know how you're doing. And I'm Katrine. I'm with the Girl Scouts of Wisconsin Badgerland. I'm based in Madison, Wisconsin. Anyone else from Madison? Yay, hello. Hi. Although I have been all the way north to La Crosse area, and I have been to Beloit. I'm originally from Chicago suburbs, so sometimes I've noticed pronounce Wisconsin names wrong. So feel free to call me out if I do. I'm open to being corrected, growth mindset. You know, we are all learning. Yeah. Yes, Daisy, you can use pancake syrup. That's totally cool too. And Elizabeth from Kansas, hello. Yeah, so if you have pancake syrup, we're also going to talk about that too, because we're going to learn a little bit more about the difference between maple syrup and then the syrup that a lot of people have for pancakes that I know a lot of people love. I really love pancake syrup as well. My husband prefers it actually to maple syrup. So, and we'll talk a little bit more about the differences there. Do people on this call like maple syrup? Not really? Yay? Nay? People like pancakes? Or French toast? Or waffles? Or maple candies? There's so many different ones. I learned so much putting together this PowerPoint, as I'm sure you all do when you do your activities, all about maple syrup, and that was pretty cool. Yeah, it's like butter syrup or something. Never had maple syrup. That's cool too. That's why we're going to go around and we're going to use our super adjectives to talk about maple syrup and what we're tasting. And that's not always the easiest thing to do, but we're going to go ahead and see if we can do it. Okay. We can get started. So again, thank you everyone on the call. We have about 10 people. I'm just going to open this up. I see Dana now, Carmela, Tiffany's iPhone. Tiffany though? feel free to change your name to what your name is. So we, if we call on you as we go share around the table and we taste, that'd be cool too. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about what we're going to do. So Tree Fun for Cadettes, again, thank you for coming. I'm Katrine from Madison, Wisconsin. Just going to do some housekeeping. Thumbs up if you can see me and see my screen. Thumbs up. Awesome. Thumbs up if you can hear me. I'm going to try to talk a little loud. Good. Awesome. Chat box check. So if you feel like just letting me know, hey, I'm here for the chat box, I see it, I'm on a computer, go ahead and add in something in there if you want. And it's cool if not. I know some people are on phones. It's kind of tricky to always go back and forth between the chat. And then, since we have a good amount of people, I am going to unmute you all in a quick sec, and then on the count of three, we're all going to say hello to each other, and then we are going to say again where we're from. And it'll all sound like cacophony because we're all going to say it all together. All right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm unmuting everyone. On the count of three, we're going to say hello. 1, 2, 3. Hello.
Hi. Hello.
And it's going to sound a lot like noise, but on the count of three, shout out your city. 1, 2, 3.
Madison.
Sparta.
Close to Madison.
Got it. Awesome. Yay, thanks, friends. All right, I'm going to mute us all again. Okay. So today we're going to go through the Girl Scout Promise and Law, and then we're going to do some tree fun, which is going through step 1 of the Cadets Tree Badge. So we will accomplish step 1 or parts of step 1. I'm going to give you some activities to do at home that you can finish up step 1. And then as we all know, there's 4 other steps to complete the badge. So I would suggest, you know, going online or talking with your troop leader or your other friends and Girl Scouts to talk about what other activities you can do to complete the trees badge. And exactly what we're going to do is watch a quick vid about how to tap trees and how to cook maple syrup from Rising Sun Farm in Wisconsin, in northern Wisconsin. We're going to learn about the maple syrup grades and some facts. And then we're going to go through and we're going to test our syrups. And then we're going to try to explain to each other. We're going to, one, guess what our syrup's grade is, but you might see it on the label. I can see mine, so I'm going to kind of cheat because I can kind of see it. But then I want you to give adjectives a little bit, describe what you're gonna taste, okay? And then so we can all learn a little bit of what each grade tastes like and kind of get an idea of the colors. Sound good, everyone? Thumbs up? We're good? All right. So I have had 50 luck with playing a video. Oh, wait, let's do the promise and the law. Let's do all that together and I'll keep you all mute. Okay. So we'll start with the Girl Scout Promise. On my honor, I will try to serve God and my country, to help people at all times, and to live by the Girl Scout law. And then the Girl Scout law, I will do my best to be honest and fair, friendly and helpful, considerate and caring, courageous and strong, and responsible for what I say and do, and to respect myself and others, respect authority, use resources wisely, make the world a better place, and be a sister to every Girl Scout. Awesome. All right, thanks, buddies. Going to move some of my windows around. Unfortunately, I'm on a single screen right now, so it's kind of tough. Okay, it's a quick video. They're from River Falls, Wisconsin. They also have an orchard. They do other things on their farm, I learned. And so this is a little video of what they did for the splendid table to talk about maple syrup. So I'm going to play it. And if there is any issues, please let me know, okay, with a little thing in the chat box or with a, like, it's not working, Katrine, like it's a bummer. And I'll switch over to another screen. Here we go.
Where is it?
Oh, sorry.
My name is Ryan Brown. My wife Lindsay Barris and I operate Rising Sun Farm with some help from my dad and a couple other people on any given year. Between the three of us, we own 40 acres of property. We run about 300 taps on about 8 acres of our woods. On any given year, we hope to make between 100 and 150 gallons of maple syrup. We used to run about 300 to 350 buckets to collect sap. This is just our second year on all vacuum tubing, which we did primarily because the weather is tough to predict in the last 10 years. So using vacuum gives us the opportunity to have a longer season and take better advantage of whenever the optimum weather is. That's about the best that it's run yet this year.
That's as good as it gets.
We're kind of along the ridge, so the valley on either side, we have a tank where the tubing all comes into a vacuum and it's collected in an old bulk tank, a milk tank. From there we pump the sap up to the head tank, which feeds the evaporator. It's all gravity fed from that point. In any given year on a vacuum tubing situation, we hope to produce about a half a gallon of syrup per tap. So since we run 300 taps, we'd hope to make 150 gallons of syrup. In order to do that, we'd hope to collect somewhere around 20 gallons of sap from each tap. So we'd be in the 5,000 to 7,000 gallons of sap total range as far as how much we'll process through our equipment. We use a wood-fired evaporator. Most of the larger producers are going to be using reverse osmosis technology to remove the majority of the water before it's ever subjected to heat. It's a 4-foot by 14-foot evaporator, and when we're operating it, we can cook about 200 gallons of sap per hour will be evaporated. And so depending on the sugar content of the sap, we'll make between 4 and 6 gallons of syrup per hour. As there gets to be less water in the liquid and it becomes closer to maple syrup, the boiling point increases to the point that when it's maple syrup, it boils at 7 degrees above the boiling point of water. So approximately 219 degrees. Once we get close to where we want it, we use a hydrometer to measure to more accurately determine the density, the sugar content of the, at this point, what's syrup. And once it's reached almost syrup, then we open the valve and draw off a batch, we call it. We store it in food grade buckets until we have 30.
Oops, sorry, buds. I don't know what happened there. I'll forward.
Subjected to heat. Comes closer to maple syrup. Accurately determine the density, the sugar content of the, at this point, what's syrup. And once it's reached almost syrup, then we open the valve and draw off a batch, we call it. We store it in food grade buckets until we have 30 to 50 gallons, which then we will reheat and filter through our bottling tank, and then we pour mostly into quarts and pints for retail sales. Because we're cooking sap from a raw state, it's given more time exposed to the heat, more opportunity for caramelization, more opportunity for that flavor to develop. And also because we're heating our syrup again to bottle it, it again gives it another opportunity for caramelization to occur. And so we think we make a pretty tasty syrup that's had the opportunity for some very good flavors to develop. We're hoping to stay at a scale that is still really fun. We hope it's profitable and that we can make some money on a good year, but we don't want it to become just work. Get to work in the woods and be with your family and whoever should happen to show up for that day, you know, because it is always different who's walking down the trail. And it's kind of cool when the wind is blowing the right direction and all the steam and the little smoke flavor scent is blowing up the trail and you get to smell that as you're walking down into the woods. It's kind of it's a unique experience.
Great. So I'm just going to admit a couple of people. We have some new friends who came in. Hannah, I think. Hi, Hannah. It's good to see you. And I think Novalee, I think that was the name that I saw. So, hey everybody. So from that video, has anyone ever been to River Falls, Wisconsin, or been to a maple tree farm before to kind of see how things are done? Great. So some fun facts that that I learned about, especially after I watched this, is maple syrup can only be produced in the late winter when the weather has just begun to warm, but before the maple trees butter produce leaves. And something to think about, you know, as farmers or maple syrup commercial producers start thinking about, you know, their crop, is that with climate change, what that timing and what that period looks like has to change their own schedule, which can affect all the other kinds of things they need to do around the farm as well. Maple syrup can be made from any species of maple trees that can be tapped are sugar, black, red, and silver maple, and box elder trees. And of all the maples, the sugar maple has the most syrup. So a lot of the maple syrup that we're going to be seeing are tapped straight from the sugar maple. It takes 40 gallons of sap to make 1 gallon of syrup. So although modern technology has simplified the process, as we saw in the video, it still takes a lot of time and work, and that's why maple syrup is more expensive. Now, do we all know what the symbol of the Canadian flag is? Yeah, Emily.
It is red maple leaf.
Very good. So with that said, the Canadian maple syrup industry accounts for 71% of the world's maple syrup and is the leading global producer of maple products. If you've ever been to Canada, anywhere you go, you can probably see all the awesome maple syrup goodies that they have for tourists as well as at home. They're their home citizens. And a few states in the US, especially including Vermont, and we'll talk a little bit about Vermont when we get to the grading system, New Hampshire, Minnesota, and because we just watched a video, I'm going to say Wisconsin, produce maple syrup. And maple syrup can be used for more than just pancakes. You can add it to oatmeal or hot cocoa, use it in baked goods as a substitute for sugar, brush it on grilled meat for a sweet glaze. So a couple of people, does anyone have other ways that they have used maple syrup? Or I'll even just take any syrup that you've used in your own recipes at home or at school. Yeah, Catherine.
Sweetener.
Oh, very good. And what do you sweeten?
I mean, I don't sweeten it, but my aunt does for me.
Oh,
Or my
great.
mom. She sweetens tea sometimes.
With the maple syrup?
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of syrup. I know it's some sort of syrup though.
Oh, for sure. I think other people I know use honey and syrup. I've used honey as a substitute for straight granular sugar when I wanted to substitute maybe a healthier choice. So great, thank you. Any other ways that people have used maple syrup, or we'll take any syrup around in their cooking? Well, what's really cool is I was able to Google maple syrup recipes, and it was just because I thought at first we were going to cook. But holy moly, there are a ton of different ways and things that you could do with maple syrup. And I think one of the things that we'll talk about as a next step activity is to actually create something with syrup or maple syrup, whatever you have at home. Great. Okay, so let's talk about these grades. So if you didn't know, maple syrup in this country and in Canada are graded along a scale. And there's only two, the rubric are two factors, is what their color is and what they taste like. So syrup made, as you can see from the graphic, made from sap collected earlier in the season has this lighter, light yellow color, while syrup that's made later in the season when the weather has started to warm and we're right before that time when the maple leaves bud, is warmer and darker. And generally said, the darker the syrup, the stronger the flavor. Does anyone have thoughts on why? Why do you think, like, if you just leave it in there longer? Any thoughts? Yeah, Catherine.
Maybe because when it's darker, it has more of the flavor from the tree.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Thank you. I think anytime you leave something longer to percolate, like coffee, like, you know, or anything that you have just processing longer, the darker it can be, and start really gaining all the nutrients that are in the vessel that it's in, right? So a lot of those nutrients and what it sits and how it sits in that tree lends itself to the stronger flavor, the darker color. So here you can see there's quite a gradient. And so fun fact, they actually changed the grading system in 2015, and it used to be grade A, B, C, or D. And whether we like it or not, if you hear something's a grade A versus a grade D, you're going to think which is better, A, right? And so it became this kind of incorrect assumption that the higher, that the grade A meant it was better, and that wasn't the case at all. Really all it meant was it depended on the color and the taste. And so what they did, and we're gonna move to the next graphic, is they named everything grade A, which is really a kind of fun way when you think of marketing, right? So they named everything grade A and just said, you know what, we're just going to straight say the difference between all these syrups, 1 color, 2 taste. So as you can see in grade A, the golden color, the delicate taste, it's thin, it's light, it's sweet, and this is a fun fact. Again, sorry, these are kind of fun facts where I get my sources from. Martha Stewart has this whole grading system on her maple syrup. If you know who Martha Stewart is, home person who likes to cook and, you know, decorate. Yeah, so this is her wording of, you know, it's breakfast's best friend, drizzle it freely onto pancakes and waffles. Why? Probably because it has a lighter taste, right? So a little bit more of it, it's probably going to get you more to that that flavor profile that you're looking for. So after that is a little more darker, an amber color, a richer taste. This variety is darker in color, has the consistency of clover honey. Who here likes honey? And if you can think in your mind of how viscous honey actually is, it's slow moving, it's sticky. So that's a little bit different than the golden color, right? Which is a little more strained, a little bit easier flow. Grade A, dark color, robust taste, caramel-like with deep maple notes, and it works well as a brown sugar substitute. And she very much is kind and gives us the, you know, the ratio, 2/3 of a cup syrup for 1 cup of the sugar. So if you're baking something and you just want to, you don't want to put in a bunch of, you know, brown sugar, just remember that ratio is 1 cup sugar to 2/3 maple syrup. And then the last, grade A, very dark color, strong taste. The richest syrup is as viscous as molasses. Now, do people know what molasses is? Have you seen molasses or tasted it? It is an unmoving substance. Really fun to eat, but really tough to work with, at least on my level. I'm a novice baker, so. But yeah, it doesn't flow as much as grade A, the golden level. So the two can be used interchangeably, and you can try it in baked beans or a ham glaze. So yeah. Alrighty, friends, we are at taste test time. So I looked up how does one taste syrup? And there is a system, and I did not realize this, the 5S technique of tasting syrup. So we'll go through them and then we'll all do it together. And then I would love, if you're comfortable, to go around the room and you can, after you do your taste test, explain your feelings and your thoughts and what you think the grade is of your maple syrup. So the 5S technique. Take a look at your syrup. Would you say it's brown, yellow, with a touch of gold? And you move the glass to various angles. So if you want to pick it up now, that's cool, whatever container it's in. If you could see it, it might not be in glass, so you might have to do this later. And you want to see the viscosity or the thickness and the difference in colors as you move around. And I have a helpful graphic on the PowerPoint so you can kind of like compare and contrast. And I've done this. I, you know, put my syrup to the screen, closed my eyes and kind of said, yeah, went down to see which one it maybe matches the best. Then, and I'm going to just walk through this and then we'll all do it together. You're going to swirl that maple syrup gently, which will allow the aroma and bouquet to blend and to rise. So it's just kind of mixing it up, you know. Then you're going to smell the maple syrup. Really try to identify the most dominant or the strongest flavors as you're smelling this maple syrup. And as we know, probably the lighter it is, it might be a little bit harder because it's a little more delicate. And the darker it is, you might be like, boom in your face pungent. So we're going to see what that's like. Then you're going to take a small sip of your maple syrup, and then you're going to savor the maple syrup. You are going to love the maple syrup or your syrup. And the dominant flavor should still be identifiable. So you should be able to really think of what it's going to probably taste like based off smelling. But as you taste it, try to figure out what the undertones are, what other notes there are. I am no expert. I don't know if anyone on this call is a maple syrup expert, so I'm excited to hear your thoughts as you try your maple syrup. But yeah, so let's go ahead and go through. I'm gonna do it too. I have my spoon. I am ready to go. So go ahead, see the viscosity, the thickness. You're gonna swirl it gently. You're gonna smell it. Try to identify what the most dominant flavors, the strongest flavors. You can make a guess of what's probably gonna be. Then when you're ready, you're gonna take a small sip of that maple syrup, you know, in your spoon, your cup, I don't know, maybe some of you have the ability to just drink it from the container. Since I share my container, I cannot drink it from there. And you're gonna savor that maple syrup, really. Wow, I love maple syrup. Okay, so just like really taste it, savor it, love it. Think about, did the taste that what you thought it would be from what you smelled, does it taste like that? What are some under things that you're tasting? And think of it like, if any of you eat spaghetti, right? You eat spaghetti, you know it's gonna taste, if you're a meat eater, you know it's gonna taste like probably ground beef, let's say it's ground beef, or the meatballs, you know what that's gonna taste like. But as you start eating the noodles, you might start picking up garlic or onion, or maybe some people put cheese in there. You know, those are the undertones. Maybe they're not the dominant flavor, but they're under. All right. And so as you taste your syrup, and maybe have a second taste, because I'm going to be real, as you guys talk, I might just have another little taster. I would love to hear what you think. So based on what your tastes are, one, what do you think what grade would you say it is? And then tell me about how you would describe your color and how would you describe your taste? And was it different after you smelled it? Was there differences in the taste that you had? So feel free to raise your hand either via, you know, that emoji or the Zoom tool, or feel free to raise your hand literally like as a body part. So either one works. Who wants to go first and talk about, yeah, Elizabeth, here we go. Thank you.
To be honest, I think mine's the dark, robust taste, the 25% to 49.9%.
Oh,
It has
okay.
this sweet texture.
Yeah, how is that swirl? Did it look thin and it looked pretty thick?
It looked pretty thin. It was like very swirly.
So probably not the molasses, or the grade A, very dark, very strong.
Yeah.
Where it's like probably moving. Okay, great. Did you feel any or taste anything underneath that you could tell, or how you would describe it?
To be honest, it just tasted how it smelled.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for going first. Let's go next. Emily. Awesome.
This is the 25%. It's the Wagner's. I can't taste any of the other flavors in there. It's too sweet. It's really thin.
Did you like it?
Yes, it's a lot better than the stuff that we usually have, because I just think that this is a lot better because you don't need as much as the thick ones. This is why I think that that real maple syrup is better than the fake stuff. Also, I just wanted to point out, mine is also from Wisconsin. It's made in Peshtigo.
Oh, nice. Local maple syrup. Thank you. Great. Catherine, you want to go next?
Yes. So I have organic 100% pure maple syrup. It was dark with a touch of like goldish.
Oh.
And then it was very light though. It wasn't thick.
What grade would you think based off what you see up there? Or is it on the label?
I don't know. It just says it says grade A.
Grade A?
Yeah.
Well, what would you say it is? Grade A amber rich or grade A dark robust?
I would say grade A dark robust.
A heartier, stronger syrup for maple flavor enthusiasts. And you could tell I probably got this from Canada. There's a clue, if you can guess. It's right here, of how they spell flavor. So I got this graphic from, Emily.
Or maple
Sorry.
leaves.
Go ahead. Sorry, it was mute. Okay, anyone else want to talk about their syrups or what they found? Yeah, Daisy.
Where mine too, it looks dark in the when there's no light, but then when you put it in the light, it looks like see-through-ish. And I think it's the 25% one because it does taste really strong, and in the back it says it has caramel. It does taste like there's something like really strong in it.
Great, thank you. Novalee. Let's see. Can we hear? There we go.
We joined late, so this is all we have. This is apple peel maple syrup. My mom made it, and I'd say it's like in 50%.
The 50%, okay. Do you think it's the grade A amber rich?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, awesome. Actually, could you swirl it a little bit in front of us so we can all kind of see? Because I think a lot of us has the dark, robust, or the very strong taste. Yeah, so we can kind of see how maybe a lighter the 50% could look like. Awesome, and let's remember that when people are making these pictures, right, for marketing purposes, there's a backlight to a lot of these. And so while the colors might not be totally accurate, they kind of still give us kind of an idea of what these colors are going to be. You know, I just want to be realistic. I don't know if any of us have this grade A golden delicate taste, but that's because there's a backlight to it, and so it's going to look a lot brighter. You know, does that make sense to people like food marketing? Okay. Anyone else want to talk about their syrup? Right. And I'm going to look on the chat. I had to kind of, I like the great big A. Yep, these are all great big A's, grade A. And this is actually what Vermont, which I think most of us know that behind Canada, Vermont is the next place that really produces maple syrup. So they actually went, this is interesting, kind of, it sounded like a bit rogue. So Vermont, the state of Vermont actually formulated its own grading system, whereas the rest of the world and Canada and the US, we had a totally different system. And so what the USDA did, as well as Canadian equivalent of USDA, was model their new grades after the state of Vermont's grading system. Right. Did people like their syrups? Or has anyone like tasted it and like, that was a one and done, I'm good? Good? Okay, I feel ambivalence, but that's okay. I understand. It's 2 o'clock, my friends. So here we go. Next slide. So we're going to be on time, but before we go to rapid review, because I'd love to hear other people's thoughts on maple syrup, how to make maple syrup, or the maple tree, and if you've learned anything today and ideas moving forward. But for some next steps, here are some activities that you can do at home to continue on towards the tree badge. You could visit or take a virtual tour of a maple syrup farm. And you can check out members of the Wisconsin Maple Syrup Producers Association to see what they offer in terms of online tours. But of course, if you want to expand yourself outside Wisconsin, absolutely go into the Google Canada maple syrup producers. I bet there's going to be a lot of great resources and in-depth behind-the-scenes tours that you're going to be able to look at. Number 2, explore and try out maple syrup recipes like the maple glazed snack mix or a maple snickerdoodle popcorn. And again, I'm not asking everyone to write this down now. This is being recorded and you'll be able to refer to this later. But You guys get to decide what kind of recipes do you want to try. It doesn't need to be sweet, as we saw, like you can have glazed ham as well as baked beans, which are more savory. And then read up on different types of maple trees. We really talked more about the sugar maple and how it got tapped, but how do we use maple trees beyond maple syrup? So as we all know, there's other industries out there that utilize trees. And so really maybe dive deep and research a little bit further of the other uses of the maple tree. And I bet there might even be a maple tree enthusiasts association out there that would be a great resource for you to go ahead and learn more about each of the different kinds of maple trees. After you do 2 to 3 of these activities on your own, congratulations, you would have completed step 1 of the Tree Fund for the Trees badge. And like I started this Zoom call with, there are 4 other steps that I'm sure everyone's at different stages of what you've accomplished with your other activities. But just again, letting you know that you have, after you do those, you will have completed that step 1, and then you are on your way to becoming a more knowledgeable person about trees in our world. So as we wrap up and review, is there anything else that people would like to share with the good of the whole? It's really nice because we have a great small group so that you can share your thoughts on maple trees, maple syrup. Yeah, Catherine.
So I actually have a question. So during campouts, we usually make banana boats, and usually you either use like chocolate syrup or caramel syrup. Would it count if I tried maple syrup?
I think that would. I think that would be amazing. Yeah, substitute maple syrup where you think you can.
Guess that's my dessert tonight.
You gave me an idea for my dessert tonight. Yeah. Any other thoughts on trees? What you learned today, or which activity really maybe speaks to you? And if none of these, then if there's any other tree things that you think you're going to want to try. Raise hands. Okay. Well, yeah. Again, oh, wait, Elizabeth, you love your cat. Would you like to share your cat really quick with the good of the whole, since we got some time? I see a pup over here in Texas. I see Daisy's puppers over there. Sure. Hi. Hi, kitty. Well, thank you for sharing. I see another kitty. Thank you. Hi, pets out there. I wish I could hold up I have a Saint Berdoodle / poodle, Saint Berdoodle. I would hold him up, but he would just dwarf the screen and I would just hold him. Yeah. I see another dog. Okay, this day is ending out pretty awesome with all these pets, or they're just making me happy. I see another cat. Well, my friends, thank you for tuning in. I'm gonna go ahead and go to the last slide. I really hope you're all having a great summer. I know this summer is way different than any other summer that you've had before, and I'm gonna get scary. You're all doing your best. You're being very resilient, and you totally got this. And you're gonna have an awesome time in Girl Scouts and in school and in all your activities this summer. So kudos to you, my friends. I don't know what it would have been like to go through school, much less a summer like this as a kiddo or as a middle schooler. So you guys are my heroes. I'm following your resiliency and your grit. So thanks, kiddos, and I will see you later, hopefully at a future Zoom call. Oh, I'll unmute well so we don't say bye.
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 Be well out there, buddies. Stay safe. Thank you for your pets. I love your pets.
I feel like I have too many. I have 3 of them.
You what?
So I wonder if Christian does those things.